leadership trickles down to the business owners. And, it's no disrespect to our past leadership, but the way that somebody is leading and the way that it is perceived will give an impression of how the entire ward looks. My vision for this ward is to revitalize the entire ward, and that's going to take everybody. It's not just going to take any. I don't care who we put in that seat. It's not going to take them alone. They're not a superhero. You know, it's going to take everybody. It's going to take the residents. It's going to take the business owners. It's going to take uh, the educational system. It's going to take not just revitalizing with brick and mortar, but it's going to take revitalizing the mindset. And that takes mentorship, that takes programming. That doesn't take you alone to do it. That doesn't take anybody independently doing it. You need everybody. You need the powers that be. You need the administration. You need the people in other wards to help you make your ward great. West Ward is a funny built ward. It's other than essential, it's almost attached to every other part of the city. From South Orange to East Orange to Irvington to the North Ward to the Central Ward. We have everybody that is bordering the ward. So I would be crazy just to say the West Ward needs to do this independently by themselves. No, we need South Orange. We need to talk to Irvington. We need to talk to East Orange. We need to talk to the North Ward leadership. We need to talk to the Central Ward leadership. And if you don't do that, then how will you get anything done? So we are putting ourselves in position to really foster change in the West Ward this time. And the mayor has said that, let's put these ideas on the table and let's see if we can make this work once we get in there. And I'm just going to claim it now. Once we get in there, May 10th, 2022, we're going to really foster change in the West Ward because I will be present. And presence, really has impact.
I remember having a conversation years ago with the late Steve Adebato Sr., and he was making a case for the North Ward and the work he had done there. And he said, by contrast, the West has not grown. This is long before the Baraka era.
Right.
And he said the West has lagged behind. You mentioned its unique geographical features. What is it? Why has it perhaps ailed and not grown the way other wards have? If that's an accurate depiction.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you why I believe. Just my opinion. Excuse me. My opinion is just what you said earlier, and I love this man. I love Ron Rice, Senator Ron Rice, who was once our councilman. And when I knock on doors, they talk about Ron Rice. Still, to this day, he hasn't been in office, 24 years as a councilman or something like that? They talk about him. But remember, Ron Rice run independently. Independently. So the independence of Ron Rice's power was not collectively together with the people to make it happen. We're going to change that with Team Baraka. We want to make sure that everybody is involved in the development of the West Ward, even if they're not from the West Ward. So while my rivals say independence is this and this, the great Ron Rice was independent, and he was great, but it made the ward lag.
It's quite a statement. Is it possibly a function of the political world in which Senator Rice rose? It was a different era. Times have changed. These times call for a different kind of leadership. Is that a fair analysis of it?
Yeah, and let me just be clear. Ron Rice is great political guy. But just the independence of him and me learning politics now, that if you're not teaming up, if you're not together with certain factions, then you can't foster change in certain areas. Ron Rice was powerfully independent. So he couldn't foster certain changes that the ward actually needed. But independent power, exceptional. But it just goes to show you, I don't care how powerful you are independently, you can't foster the change that is actually needed to foster change within the community.
Mr. Kelly, could you talk a little bit about the campaign? How do you envision the campaign going? Obviously, you're running on Team Baraka. How do you expect to take your message out there, connect with voters, uh, run this race, make your points, close the argument?
Oh man, it's we've started probably in May this past year, 2020, 21, excuse me. We've been running. We've been knocking on doors. We've been dropping literature. We've been actually speaking with the residents. See, when I say let's do this together, when I say together we can do this, it's about receiving the information from the people so we can disseminate the information to the powers to be so we can formulate change. If I don't live on a certain block of a certain West Water, they get to come out of their home every day, go to their car, go to their driveway, walk to the corner store, the bodega. They know actually what's happening in that community. I will be fronting if I was to say, oh, I know exactly what's happening on your block if I didn't have a conversation with you. I need to talk to Ms. Williams. I need to talk to Ms. Jackson, Ms. Johnson, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Williams, to find out what is going on in this neighborhood. What are your issues? See, we have to also understand that Ivy Hill is different from Fairmount. Fairmount is different from Roseville. If I don't have anybody speaking Spanish with me, how can I really comprehend what is being communicated? So it's about understanding the ward, understanding the residents, understanding the business owners, and by understanding them and them trusting in you, they'll give you the information so that you can change what's going on, that you can fix or at least address. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that we can fix everything, but all of the people in the West Ward do is want to see that you're there for them. They want to see that you at least took it into consideration and you tried. So that's all that I'm saying, man, that we're going to be there. We're going to show up, we're going to be present, and then presence will definitely have an impact whether we get it done or not. But we're going to get a lot of things done, and we've already been getting a lot of things done. You know, I know I'm just a candidate, but I'm a Westwater. I'm an indigenous Westwater. I went to school there. I've played in every county park there. I've learned how to become a man there. You know, so by me being there, I was there when it was David Wright Association and played with the Optimist League, Ron Howard, and my mother had me there when university was called Martland. And, I learned how to become a man. And when we talk about artists, I wrote all of those hits that would impact millions of people around the world right at 318 South 19th Street. I am a Westwater. I didn't come from somewhere else and move for political reasons into the West Ward. I am the West Ward, just like those residents are the West Ward. So we have a commonality with each other, So I am the West Ward. So it's personal for me because I will be, I can't say that word, but I'm not going to let anybody try to take something that is ours. And what I mean by ours, what is West Warders. Not for any political reason, not for any political aspirations of moving up to become something else. And you know how they do in politics. We're not going to do that. We're going to play the West Ward, a fair game of the West Ward, and we're going to do it the right way. And we're going to move the West Ward forward with Team Baraka.